Everybody, gaslighting Poppy's back. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not even going to waste your time with a long drawn out intro. Yeah, I gaslit you. Yeah, I'm back. Okay, I lit your gas all up. Daddy's home. Okay, Daddy's back to the podcast. Daddy been slipping. You know what? Daddy was building things for you. Daddy was out here. I'm gonna stop calling myself Daddy. It's a weird thing. It's less weird that I have a child now. Okay, it's less weird to refer to myself as Daddy. It's real weird if you don't have kids. Okay, but once you have a kid, it gets about 6% less weird. So it's still 6% less. I've been gone, but now I'm back. If you just heard a car honk, okay, in the background, I don't know if my audio is going to take it out or not. Your boy, I've moved on, okay? If you're like Evan, if you're watching the video, a lot of people don't watch the video. You're like, what's this new background? Has moved on, okay? I've left my family, okay? I've abandoned my boy. It's not a boy yet. You never know in this political climate. That's foreshadowing of what we're going to talk about today, okay? I've abandoned my family, and your boy has moved full-time the studio into the garage. Moved out of the house to gift my family another room of the house. Just a chef kiss, drop a love grenade, and step out. Daddy's going to get some milk in the garage, okay? And that doesn't mean that I'm going in the garage to jack off. A code word for Daddy needs to clear his head, okay? I've moved into the garage. Ladies and gentlemen, if it's your first time here, stick around. I might say something mildly amusing or interesting, or just extra brain rot for you to nibble on, like a algae eater. Okay, what was the technical term of an algae eater? Yeah, we have a computer right now. A pentacostus. What were those things called, man? They used to. Let's see, 10 best. Everything's a 10 best list. Okay. Do you remember that? You go into the pet store, you see those algae eaters. I mean, truly the minorities of the pet industry. Bristol nose plecos. Is that what they were? I don't remember having a Bristol nose. Do you remember those? The algae eaters? You go into, listen, I go to Critter Country on L and 45th, okay? Shout out to the hood. Shout out to those who know, okay? Algae eaters. Why is there not a lot of information on algae eaters other than algae eaters? I want to know the Latin name of this algae eater. Had a fin on its back, would just sit there sucking, just show you what that mouth does, okay? Man, they're just pictures of it. They just don't, it's just take a picture of them with their mouth wide open, just so disrespectful. Anyway, they've disrespected this whole industry to just algae eaters, but they're great fish, okay? I would throw a couple in there. I had an algae eater, great algae, feeding the stereotypes. I had an algae eater named Consuela. And Consuela, dude, hashtag housekeeping, she would keep the tank clean, okay? I was never a fancy fish kind of tank. I've been thinking about this. As you get older and I become a weathered old man, the pets you get reflect what you think of yourself. Okay, I don't think I would ever get like a purebred dog because I'm not a purebred person. Okay, I'm a mutt. I am a vasectomy baby, which means my parents weren't planning me. So what that means for my pet is I either need a feeder fish, I need a minority fish, or I need a rescue dog. I need a dog that someone else didn't want, that they got rid of. And then I need the vasectomy baby of dog. But you know what? Those have the most in them. Okay, those have the most heart, the most love, and the most appreciation for the bare necessities. Okay, shout out to Jungle Book, dude. Fucking cat, bear, and kid living together. Call ice on that, huh? Sorry, let's not get political. Cast flagged. That's always the funniest thing is when something just doesn't get a lot of views. People are just like, well, I shouldn't have been talking about the vaccine, you know? Sorry for keeping it real. The ice stuff is, people are touchy, okay? I've been doing on my grind, as the kids say, and I don't even think the kids are grinding anymore, to be honest with you. I think we're in a season of kids not grinding and they're protesting. Kids aren't, at least what you see, are grinding. They're not in grind mode right now. They're in protest mode, okay? And they're out there on the streets. And people are getting tense about the ice stuff. I've nuked 2 sets I was doing well in this past weekend because I riffed on ice, okay? There's a second part of the show on the balcony. 2 people were up there. I didn't know that they were up there. It was like the Twilight meme, and they were up there, and I them about halfway through the show. And then I said, oh shit, I was like, they're lurking up there, they're gonna rappel down like ice, dude. And then I just got this, sometimes you get like a nugget of an idea. Because I was like, they don't seem like they're full-time ice, just part-time. Because it was, I don't know, the crowd wasn't really loud. They all tensed up at ice because it's so touchy right now, dude. You start talking about ice. Bartender, they aren't even serving anymore. You go to a restaurant, dude, you're drinking lukewarm water. I mentioned something out, and then I thought, part-time ice. Funny if ice came out with like their own version of that, like Postmates, but it's like Ice Mates. And you could just decide to go ruin someone's if you wanted. You could just, all right, I'll take them in, you know? Like just, I mean, that dug me in a hole, you know? Otherworldly. Okay, I fought very hard to get back to a regular place. You see, I think it's just in Austin. But it also wasn't a great joke. So that's the other thing, is they're just like, meh, you know? Too real for some people. It wasn't even a real hole. I did a show at Roscoe's. Shout out to Roscoe's Comedy Club in East Austin. Okay. Started the second show. First thing I'm doing, they have these chairs, these couches in the front row. And I start just Riff City, dude. Welcome to it. And I start going, oh, hey, this guy had crazy legs. He looked like he was in a jacuzzi of baby oil before he came to the show. These things were glistening. If it was a turkey, I would have gobbled down on it. Pause. Okay, but I riff a little bit on his legs. Crowd's laughing. It's just to start my set. Sometimes I don't know how to start sets good. I'm not like you want something to just break the ice. Let's say some fun. So I like to acknowledge some people. Sometimes, you know, I'll say something, and I say, oh, I'm talking about his legs, and then the next to him, I hadn't even looked at the person next to him, but I just go, is this your mom? Like, cause he had, I'm uncomfortable, I'm with my parent energy, and I didn't even look. It was like, this lady goes, I'm just his friend. And then it was just like, boom. There's nothing worse when you make somebody feel bad that you didn't mean that. And instantly when I look, I go, oh, she's a young lady. She's not, she's maybe 29, 30. And that's rough for that age, because you're in a metamorphosis. And I go, oh, I backpedal completely, because like I make it worse because, oh, no, I'm sorry. The lights are dark, the glass, it just made me think. And then I got in a hole, and I told the crowd that I was in a hole, and they laughed at that, and we got out of it. And sometimes you got to take chances. But every time I do something dumb like that, I have to learn from it. And I go, okay, I'm not going to make that mistake again. Okay? Because you know what mistake I made before, and I've talked about this on the podcast? I called an old lady. She was old. Okay? There I go again. She was in her 40s, maybe 50s, I would say, early 50s, platinum blonde hair, in the back, a dark room. And I said, I apologize. I have this joke where I go into a grandma joke, and I say, I'm sorry to the grandmother in the back for cursing. And it's just stupid. It's sometimes, and I'll only if someone's clearly in their 80s, you know, where it very, very, very clear they're like grandmother age. And I did that joke, and I went to this joke a little bit, this grandma joke, and then it was like a 1 minute thing. I finished my set. It was fine. And all of a sudden this lady comes up to me and she's like, "Oh, apologies to the grandmother in the back." And then I said, "Oh," I was just like, "Oh, you're talking about that joke." But I had no idea why, but I can tell she's so upset. She goes, "I'm the grandmother you're talking to." If you're wondering that, but she was from Ireland. And I go, "Oh, you're not a grandmother." And then she's like, "I know I'm not the grandmother." And she got so upset. I'm having flashbacks. I remember her face, and I felt so terrible. She storms off and she gets in her car. Her car was like 10 feet away, so it was awkward. Like I was standing out, I'm just watching this lady. And then I feel so terrible that I just go over there. I end up having to talk to her for like 5 to 10 minutes. Where I'm just like, "Hey, I'm really sorry." I went to her and she was like, "And you were doing good. I was enjoying your set." Like it was like I was having a hard time not, laughing. It felt very whimsical. I felt like I was dealing with like a Keebler elf, something otherworldly, like I was in the Shire. Okay. There's some accents where there are just magical. Like I think that's why, and I know I've said this before, I think that's why Harry Potter is a cult thing for people in America. Because it was otherworldly with the accents. If that had taken place in America, like if Harry Potter was in like Detroit, no one would have watched it. Like if Harry Potter was just in Seattle, I'd be like, "Well, this is dumb." And it was California. We would have never watched it. We would have never been into it. It would have been so dumb. Has there been any Harry Potter versions that were like in the States? Because you need castles. You need like this otherworldly thing. I know Harry Potter was big over there, but I feel like it wasn't nearly as. We are back. I don't know if I forgot to check the battery or if the battery just went bad. And then all of a sudden it just drained so fast. Pause. But we're back now talking about Harry Potter and everything. Some of these things just jump in my mind sometimes where you're like, "Why are you talking about Harry Potter again?" Started reading the book again last night. Okay. Look, I have it on my Kindle. And then I just go, you know what? I don't know what to do with myself. And then what ends up happening is I'll read a book for a while. I'll finish it and it's great because I use it to like fall asleep. So I'll read like 15, 20 minutes a night while I fall asleep. And then what happens is I get into like a no man's land of like, and I just start reading a bunch of the samples of books. And then I'll read descriptions of books and everything. The last book I finished, start to finish, was The Lost World. If you haven't read like the Jurassic Park and Lost World, they're phenomenal. And they're like a different version of the movie. Like I think Lost World is pretty much a different book. It's like a completely different story, as if it could almost take place in the same world as The Lost World happened. But it's just a multiverse version of it with some of the same people, and then some of the people are just completely different. But it's pretty different to the point where I almost think the movie storyline was better. I think the version of the Book of Lost World wouldn't have been what the movie was if we had just played the exact way. We would have had to care a lot more about the characters to make that rather than the actual story. That's like the fascinating thing about entertainment and like movies and everything they're doing right now. It's like a lot of IP. Stories have to be so good. And I'm weirdly finding myself being more into slower, older movies. Like I like less. It's like they almost started almost shaping movies and everything to match social media, where you have to constantly keep bringing in the storyline and like attention. Like acts started being a lot faster. Things started changing. And the slow buildup, like you just couldn't bet on people having the slow buildup. to talk recently, and they were talking about how now when there's movies made, they want you to put almost like the big thing in the beginning of the movie to try to pull people in rather than like a slow build of what older movies were. I like it more, dude. I'm a one-track pony. Okay, I like getting on there and just see. All right, that just giggles my goose better. All right, I like to just zone in, and I've started like I don't know what it is, but I think, and this is also why like I think the podcast paused. I gaslit you, and I did. Okay, I admit it. Daddy Gaslights, and dude, that would be a sick nickname. Can you guys make that stick? Daddy Gaslights. It's the sickest thing I've ever heard. If I get 7 people to call me Daddy Gaslights, I'll get it tattooed. Just Daddy and Gaslights. Daddy Gaslights. And then I arm wrestle. Daddy Gaslights. Right there, dude. I started feeling weird about content. The whole, like, I think past year. There's such a shift. I truly think it's brain rot. I think so much of just content is brain rot. Brain rot. That's just like brain crotch rot. Clip it. I think that so much of it is just noise, and there's so much stuff that's just like, okay, but this isn't, and that's fine, because we've been digesting nothing for a while. So that's like, I start feeling weird when I'm like making stuff and doing things on autopilot, because I'm like, okay, I'm trying to do this. This requires me to build an audience. Trying to build an audience requires that an audience would want. But it's like, the second you start doing that and you're not thinking about what you actually want to do, what you want to create, like that's the whole reason I've done anything, is because I truly enjoy making things from start to finish. And I have to like what I'm making. And I got caught in this loop of like, I'm doing things and this was kind of funny, so let's just do this. And then it's just like, I'm just feeding this brain rot beast of just like, well, this is dumb. This is nothing. This doesn't mean anything. It's not what I personally want to create. So then I like had to like stop for a while to just be like, I'm just going to try to get better at what I'm doing and like become a better creative person, and really like stop to be like, okay, what do I want to do? What do I want to create that is me? Because that's one thing that, you know, I've like thought about for so long, is like doing music, doing videos, doing stand-up. I love all these things, and I've been trying to figure out a way to merge them in a way that like scratches an itch for me and actually makes something that I'm like proud of and something that I want to do. And that's what I've been working on. I've been creating the creation station in the garage for me to start putting some things out that I'm proud of, because I don't want to feed the brain rot beast, dude. I don't want to just be like, yo, people like this be doing this, and then it's just like, I don't know. And it's not me dissing anything. It's not. I know it almost feels like, but it's like I can't do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to just do what everybody else is doing and just make stuff that, you know, I get inspired when I see something that makes sense, you know, and it's off, you know, actually took effort in doing it. But I think it's just like social media is like diet life, and it's like diet social, if you will. The results you get from a social that, if you're putting out a version of that to appease that, the results are going to be a version of that. Does that make sense? It doesn't make sense, dude. I wish I could. I've been staring at these algae eaters on my computer right here, and they've just been staring back at me. And that a plecostomus. I remember they used to say that, plecostomus algae eater. It was like another second part of that name, plecostomus, dude. And those are great algae eaters if anybody's still in the market and just kept listening to this podcast hoping I would circle back. Anyway, things are good, ladies and gentlemen. I'm excited. I'm feeling good about stand-up. Okay, I've been doing it for a minute. I think I'm coming up on, I think it started in 2018. I think 2018. When I look back at like my notebook, I have a digital one. Writing in like 2018. I think it started in November or December of 2018. So around 8 years coming up. They say that you're not a real headliner till like 10 years. And it feels like that because I feel like right now I'm just starting to get jokes that are actually me, where I look at some stuff where I'm like, oh, this is actually starting. I'm figuring out how to do this a little bit. You go through these weird phases of like, I mean, at 6 months in, I thought I was the greatest ever. I was like, I'm him. Okay. And then at 2 years later, I was like, no, now I'm him. And then 4 years later, I'm like, oh, I'm him now. And then 6 years. And then I'm like, and then weirdly around like year 5, I started being like, oh, I suck at this. I'm not good at this. And then I had to like stop doing some shit that I was doing just to try to figure out what I actually like to do. But you have to do that to figure that out. Anyway, this isn't a masturbation masterclass about all of that. This is, I don't know what this is. This is probably just contributing to brain rot for somebody. Had the craziest. Let's talk about shadowing. Okay. About the ice stuff. My wife and I did. We go out to dinner. Having a family is the best. I got to be honest with you. It's the coolest thing I've ever done. It's the most satisfying. It's the most rewarding thing. It's the most motivating thing. It's also the hardest thing. This is like one thing that you don't, like people, when they see like certain things, they're like, oh, you're so lucky, you're blessed, blah, 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 all this stuff. I'm like, you know how hard this is? You know how hard it is every morning when I have to wake up really early, take care of my babe, have her help me cook her food? It's very rewarding. Hard. Every morning, it takes us about 20 minutes to make just a cooked egg, just because I have her help me with every single step of it. And my baby girl, dude, she doesn't like to crack an egg to just, let me crack it, and then she likes to take the egg, and her goal is every morning I hand her an egg. She picks out her egg in the fridge. She picks it out, she holds it, sometimes she puts it in her mouth, and I'm like, she's going to bite through that eventually. She cracks the egg, and she tries her hardest to crack it and squish it into nothing. I don't know how baby hands are so strong, but they grab something and it's gone forever, dude. It might be a different universe, just crushed into atoms. Just like when Thanos crushes the Infinity Stones, he's like, I reduced them down to atoms. That's what babies try to do with anything that they grip. And so it takes a while, but it is the most rewarding thing. I love it. And kids isn't for everyone, but it's, for me, it's very, very rewarding, and it's the greatest thing I think I'm ever going to do, and the most fun. And it just makes me want to cut out so much bullshit out of my life that I don't need to worry about and I don't care about anymore. And it's just like, every day I have a purpose, and it's a very simple purpose. And I'm like, I have to do things to make sure to keep providing and protecting, and to just, it's very objective. Like, I just have to survive the day. I have to get through it. Okay. And I have to do all the things I need to do and do all the things I need to do. And it was like, I was talking to my wife about this morning, that there's like this moment. It's like, what's so amazing about it is the hard stuff. Like, that's why I think anybody really appreciates anything you have, is if you have to work for it. And I mean, doing this has been like the most challenging. And because I mean, you know, that goes for anything that you have to actually work for, you'll appreciate more, and it'll be so much more rewarding. If you're given all this stuff and you don't really have to work for whatever, you don't really care as much. It's not as satisfying value in it. But it's like these small things, because we'll go through these days. It's just my wife and I. We don't have any other family out here. You know, we're doing no screen. So we're doing all this stuff on our own. And it can be tough because we don't have somebody to tap in. We don't have grandparents that can just kind of help with this. We don't have a babysitter. We don't have daycare. We're just out here rocking it in the free world. And that's our choice. And we love it. And because we do it that way, there's like these super exhaustive days where we're just so tired and we're just trying to survive the day. And there'll be these small moments for me haven't been these, oh, we're going to the zoo and we're going to do this. No, it's amazing. It's like great and everything. Or, oh, we're going to go to this, like whatever. It's never like these huge things. It's like a long, exhaustive day. And then I'm just like trying to kill time. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to take my baby to the and we'll walk down there and I'll play a game or like, let's try to see as many birds as we can see. And there'll be moments she'll point them out. And there'll be like this small moment where she's looking at a bird and she points and she'll go, duh, duh. And she'll point and then she'll just lean into me. And then it's like this small 10-second moment where she's just leaning. I'm like, this is crack. This is the greatest feeling I've ever had in the world for these 10 seconds where she just like leaned into me and I'm just like holding her. And it's the sweetest thing in the world. And that's like the greatest thing. I almost liken it to like you're hunting or you're fishing cold and you're miserable, and then all of a sudden you just hear and you hear this buck coming out. That's not how bucks sound. And then you see it and it's like, holy shit. Or you've been fishing all day in anticipation of the fish biting on the hook and reel it in. It's because you had to wait around. If you just went to the lake and you just oh, hey. But if it's like that thing where you weren't expecting it and it just, I don't know, it's the fucking bee's knees, dude. But anyway, all of that was a detour. We went yesterday to this restaurant and nice little Sunday outing. We sit down, it's my wife, my babe and I, and my baby. I don't know why I said my babe. I don't want you guys to think me and my wife and my girlfriend went out to dinner together. We exclusively do that separately. We sit down at this restaurant. I need to be honest with you. San Marcos, dude, it's a college town, okay? You run into some interesting people out there. I'm running on this crazy statistic that I run into a trans person every time I go to San Marcos. And listen, I support people. I want to be and everything. It's just I'm acknowledging that there's a higher body count out there. And we sit down, okay? And behind us is a family. It is a trans woman, I believe, which a man who trans. I think that's the technical term for it. And they are going at it, okay? It's a mom and the trans daughter, I guess, and they're going at it, and they're fighting. And I got to be honest with you, I would have paid $100 to watch this. If I felt like pay-per-view, okay? And they're going at it. And she's saying, you don't understand. I'm putting my life on the line, okay, for this cause. And you don't understand it as a white woman and me as a white woman. And then the dad comes back from the bathroom, balding, stressed out. Dad looks like he has a 401k paying for this whole college experience that their child is having. Sits down and he says, and you know what? You don't understand it as a white man in this world, the oppression that people are dealing with, and I'm fighting, and that's why I got arrested. By the way, this person's dressed a extra bad guy cop outfit from, I don't know, the Beat It video. Like imagine one of the henchmen that was wearing like a cop hat in one of the Beat It video. Maybe a gang member in movie Warriors Come Out to Play, but with a little cop hat. It was wild, and we're sitting down, and let me tell you, people ask me, what's the secret to like a good relationship? Secret is you gotta enjoy people watching and talking shit when people are doing shit, dude. My wife and I, we love to hear people fight. It's probably our biggest hobby. And our babe, no different. Okay, she's looking over and she's just like, this is This is better than any kind of Miss Rachel other kids are watching. Okay. They're going at it about this ice stuff. They were going crazy about it. And the kid was just like, and I say kid as a college age human, just being, I know I sound like a conspiracy theorist, but this blatant systemic racism is baked in. And as a white man, you don't understand. As a white woman, you don't understand. And even me as a white woman, I don't understand. Okay. And then pause. They were like, the oppression is nothing compared to what they've dealt with and the hate that they've dealt with. And it was such a wild experience because it was so intense, and it was so, they were doing it so loud in a restaurant. I didn't mind it. I would rather have that over any other conversation. I'm going to overhear. But it was so fascinating to hear that. It made me sad, okay, because it was, at one point, the dad thought they checkmated their child by being like, because they brought up the lady who tried to run over the ICE officer was unalived. Unfortunately, unalived. I don't support that. I think it was a very bad situation. I feel like, I feel like that was such a crazy situation from all sides. Okay, and this dad, the child brings up about her, Renee, and goes, and they did it, and then the dad goes, yeah, so then would you say that all lives matter? And that just triggered, dude. I heard it. And it was like, no, all lives do not matter. It took them shooting a white lady to. And then I was just like, I don't see the sense, but okay. And I'm just an audience member. I'm a fly on the wall, dude. Buzz, just enjoying from afar. And they went on and on and on. And the child was like, I'll get arrested again. I don't give a shit. Meanwhile, they're just eating like, it is just, fish and stuff and all this stuff. And then they leave. And then I guess they had been there so long that there was a shift change. So they must have been fighting for, I don't know, an avatar length time. And the mom tries to offer the next shift waitress extra, just like, hey, I'm really sorry here. And it was like, oh, I'm not your server. And they were like, okay, well. And then that server walked away. And she said it loud enough, I think, for us to hear it, because we were like the closest table. She goes, I was just trying to give you extra money. I should have been like, I'll take it. I'll take it for having to take that ear. But I wish I would have asked, like, how does that happen? But I also felt so terrible. This is the thing. It was very eye-opening because I felt very bad for the parents, because you can see they just want to connect. I might have thought, I just want to go have a nice Sunday dinner with my child and just enjoy the special time that I get with them, because, it's limited, especially once they move out of the house. You don't see them as much. And they were trying to understand while maybe just like giving alternatives. And I felt bad for the kid because they were so worked up emotionally about it. It would be such a terrible thing to live in a world where you constantly think the sky is falling. You constantly think there is this crazy, and I'm not watering beliefs were, but you could tell the emotions and the indoctrination of just, this is the world. We're living through Nazi Germany. That was what they were basically saying. And it was just so intense. And I don't know what to do. I don't know what do you do in this kind of situation? Because one thing that I don't like, one thing that I don't like is when you start having these tragedies happen, you start seeing the statements of black and white for very gray situations where you're like, what are you talking about? I don't think we should celebrate any loss of life in the sense of, whenever something politically happens. I don't really celebrate the loss of life for anybody who's just a decent person, or who, because then the argument for that is they can just put these stuff on people that they weren't a decent person. I don't know that. I think in any situation there's a loss of life, it's not good. Situation where it could have been prevented. You start seeing people say things like, if you mourned the loss of Charlie Kirk, but you didn't mourn the loss and post about Renee Good, then you're the problem. I don't think that's true at all. That's like a nothing statement. That's like, those are things that, like, I never post things online, like politically, because it's just such a volatile world of it. But it's also like this, none of this is like if you grab one of those arguments, you're just going to end up in a nothing argument. Like, oh, you're not thinking rationally. If you really can't take away two different situations and look at them completely, that they have their complete variables and they're two different things, but you want to make them black, like fit in these two boxes and then mash them up. This equals this. So if you did this on this and you didn't this on this, then you're a hypocrite, where it's like, okay, you got to have more, be able to look at things a little more intricate than that. It's funny to say a word like intricate and like when you're trying to sound intricate. I don't know. All of this makes me think that I wish it wasn't so. I don't want that kid who's a trans individual I don't want them to feel like they are really living in a world where there's this much oppression. A lot of the ICE stuff is bad. A lot of it is. When you start looking at things, going after families or breaking people up and doing all this, it's not good. When you start looking at ICE taking out, terrible criminals and illegals and people breaking the law, that's great. Okay? It's not so black and white that ICE bad, ICE good. It's not. You could apply that to literally. I think what needs to happen is, like, we just need to understand that it's a very complicated situation because we can't not have ICE. There are some situations where you would 100% say that ICE is phenomenal. There's situations where people, I don't care what their opinions on ICE, situations where that's amazing. Getting out real criminals, real rapists. There's like things I saw where it was like these 7 men that they were targeting raped and killed these women. Now, why would you do anything to protect these kind of people? Well, it's like, yeah, no, protect those kind of people. But then it's like, there's people here who are here illegally and they're just trying to better their life. They're trying to build a life for their family, do all this stuff. We should figure out a way to help them through the immigration process, which there is a way, but it's not perfect. Yeah, we tried that. It didn't really work. And it's like, this is complicated. We should all be a little more solution oriented. I don't know why I'm preaching about this right now, dude. I ain't got no dog in the fight, dude. I think we just, I would love this, like any young individual that's so testing. It is crazy, the level of privilege to like feel like you can like intervene with federal officers. Like some of these white women who are just going out here and they're just like, they're like trying to kick officers or like put their car in the front. They think they're doing the right thing. At least I think some of them probably think they're doing the right thing. I just wish there would be like, let's do something. Like the solution is complicated. That's why no one wants to do it. The lowest hanging fruit is like, I'm going to go protest because at least I feel like I did something. That's like, experience that in everyday life. You're like, do I really want to do the self-work that I need to do and journal and figure out what's really going on with me? Or do I just want to crush another hard workout and be like, got my dopamine for the day, I think it's similar to that where it's like, yeah, it's easier to just go, protest and to go do this and then Okay, well, politically, how can we actually try to find a solution? How can we actually try to get bills passed? How can we actually try, to make it where the immigration laws are better, more optimized, more efficient to have people here belong here, who are good people who just want a better life, not people who are looking to be criminals and do bad stuff. Because if you want to say, yeah, all immigrants are good and they should have that, it's not true. Just like all citizens aren't good. That's why we are prison, okay? And I've been watching a lot of Prison Break, okay? Anyway, when you just start going down a path and you're like, well, I can't just abandon this path. I'm in this ice tunnel right now. I have to talk about it. I don't know. Don't listen to me, dude. It's complicated, and it's not. It bums me out when I start seeing people just post these things, and I'm like, I wish you would have thought about this. I wish you would have waited until more stuff came out. But to each their own. As I'm getting. Dude, you got to take a hit of crack every time I say as I get older. I start realizing I don't have to just say what I think. Like, I can just let people talk. That was like one thing when I was younger is I would be like, I have to say something if I don't agree with someone. I have to at least talk. Nah, well, I don't really think, I'm just like, all right, you're a grown adult. Yeah, fine, whatever. If that's what you believe it, dude. And that's something that my dad would do that I think was great. People have ideas and thoughts. He would just be like, okay, that's great. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, what am I doing? If you come see me do comedy, I won't be talking about any of this. Okay, this is just where you can just, I don't know what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, but listen. Every Friday, East Austin Comedy Club. This is coming out on Tuesday, January 20th, I believe. This Friday, I'll be at East Austin 6 p.m. 6:30 p.m. on Friday. 8:30 on Friday. I will be at the Green Room in Austin, where I'll be hosting the Green Room. Okay? If you're in Austin on Saturday, I'll be at the 6 p.m. at East Austin Comedy Club. I'll be at the Half Baked Comedy Show. p.m. Don't ask me how I'm gonna get over there that fast. Lime scooter. Send me a check. All right. More dates coming up. Your boy is putting together a little run on the country. Okay. Ice Ice Baby. That's gonna be the name of the tour. I love you guys, and I'll see you next week. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be back next Tuesday. Maybe. You never know with me, dude. I'm gonna loose a little fox. But I love you guys. And I'll see you next week. Maybe.